We are supposed to be taking SB 1234 in special order, although I don't see Senator De Leon yet, and we may be able to get Mr. Hertzberg in on time. I see you here, Senator Hertzberg. And then the other thing I need to announce is that SB 1297 is being pulled from the file for today. So that's item number 6. And with that, let's call the roll. Establish quorum.
Okay, Pan.
Here.
Pan here. Morrow. Bell.
Here.
Bell here. Hall. Morlock.
Present.
Morlock here.
Okay, we have a quorum, and since I do not see Senator De Leon here.
The sergeant's calling right now. Are you calling for De Leon?
Okay. All right. If not, then I'll. Okay, so we will take up item number 1, which is SB 1234 by Senator De Leon. Welcome. Thank you.
Apologies for being a little tardy.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair Morrell, Mr. Morlock, as well as Senator Jim Bell. Thank you for the opportunity to present SB 1234. Today, Mr. Chair, there are nearly 7 million workers in this state that have zero access to retirement plans through their place of employment. Close to 50% of middle-income workers are, in fact, at risk of retiring into poverty. Over 2/3, that is 68% of workers that lack access to workplace retirement plans have jobs at small firms that have 100 or less employees. I want to underscore this because it is very fitting that we're having this hearing in the Rose Vuich room, given the fact that this is profoundly a women's issue. In California, 2/3 of the retirees who live in poverty today are, in fact, women. And this is also a millennials issue because each generation is expected to retire poorer than the last. 55% of young workers age 25 through 44 have projected retirement incomes below 200% of the federal poverty level. The Secure Choice program is about helping hardworking Californians get on the path to self-sufficiency when they can no longer work. All workers should have the opportunity to build savings over their lifetimes, and retire with dignity. The retirement crisis impacts all Californians as these workers, when their bodies break down and they can no longer work, will need to rely on government assistance to survive. Nearly 4 years after the passage of the original Senate Bill 1234, I'm here with a new Senate Bill 1234. The next step in moving forward with the implementation of the California Secure Choice Retirement Savings Program. Since the enactment of the last bill, 2012, we have been very steadily laying the groundwork to get to this very day. The membership of the Secure Choice Board was appointed by both the governor, the Speaker, as well as the Senate Rules Committee. That happened, and the first meeting was in September 2013. I think it's important that I go through this because I want to give an idea for the newest members to the Senate so they have an idea of the groundwork that has been laid out since 2012. Since 2012 also, too, when the governor signed the bill, as I just mentioned, the Secure Choice Board was created through appointments by the governor, as well as the Senate Rules Committee and the Assembly Speaker. It held its first meeting back on September 4th, and we raised, as promised, negotiated with the governor to raise $1 million, $1 million from the private sector by folks, they say politics makes very strange bedfellows. Yes, indeed. CTA, SEIU, the Lisa and John Arnold Foundation. So a lot of folks who came together, a few members who have left this Senate, in fact, then Senator Ted Lieu, now Congressman Ted Lieu, contributed to this fund as well. $1 million was raised. That money was raised for the market and financial feasibility study. Overture, or I should say more specifically before Overture, K&L Gates, the legal team in Washington, D.C., the experts with regards to ERISA, were hired to interface with the executive level in Washington, D.C. Secure Choice Board also contracted with Overture Financial to conduct the actual market and financial feasibility study. So a lot of work has been conducted as we move forward with this measure. Now, in the past few years, I've traveled to Washington, D.C. on numerous occasions to meet with White House officials, then Secretary Hilda Solis, and now Secretary at the Department of Labor, Mr. Tom Perez, officials at the Treasury Department, and other key players on Capitol Hill. As a consequence of these meetings in Washington, D.C., last July in 2015, our President Barack Obama, directed the Department of Labor to issue regulations to clear a pathway for states to launch retirement programs for private sector workers. Last November, the draft regulations were released, and there will actually be an expansion of safe harbor under the Federal Employee Retirement Individual Security Act of 1974, which is ERISA, for California to move forward. Now, I want to underscore this federal action because it's very important. Current law prohibits the implementation. I'm going to say this very slowly so folks can really internalize this. Current law prohibits the implementation of Secure Choice if it is deemed an employee benefit plan under ERISA. That's the really key point. The new rule is expected to be issued by this summer, and I believe it will be a tremendous victory for workers in California. Last month, the Secure Choice Board independent market analysis and feasibility study was finalized with the essential finding that the program is in fact financially viable and would be self-sustaining. And 2 weeks ago, the Secure Choice Board voted on recommendations to the legislature, which are contained in SB 1234. That is before your consideration today. This year's Senate Bill 1234 reflects the recommendations submitted to the legislature by the Secure Choice Board and also extends a time frame for the implementation of the program. We are creating, let me underscore, a vital supplement to Social Security income that will impact the lives of millions of hard-working Californians. So it is absolutely critical that we do this right. We will need to ensure that the program is tailored for and meets the needs of workers. The vast majority of these workers are low income and middle income, and they're highly fragmented, and they're very hard to reach population. Bottom line is we will need to ensure that the payroll deductions offered by the Secure Choice program are the best possible deal for the participants. Through the leveraging of economies of scale, pooled investing, extend investment horizons, the objective is to minimize participant fees, minimize risk, and maximum possible income replacement. As the program design is finalized for employers and offering the Secure Choice program to their employees, we will need to ensure that the process is as simple as possible. And another highlight, for employers that want to explore other options, they will have that right. There will be a retirement investment clearinghouse, which will have information about other employer-sponsored retirement plans, such as payroll deductions, IRAs, and annuities offered by private providers. As Secure Choice rolls out, there will be a robust education and outreach strategy for both employees as well as employers. There is, without a doubt, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, a lot of work ahead of us, and California will be the first state in the nation to create a retirement savings program for the private sector workforce. Other states are watching very closely, and they are in the wings right now, following our lead. I would like to forward this ongoing dialogue on the merits of this very important effort. Mr. Chair, as well as Mr. Vice Chair, I thank you very much for your indulgence, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Witnesses in support. Witnesses in support.
Grant.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I will speak fairly briefly, but I'm Deputy Treasurer Grant Boykin. I'm here representing State Treasurer John Chung in support of SB 1234. The Treasurer serves as the board of the California Secure Choice Retirement Savings Investment Board, and as part of that board has reached out to employers, employees, the financial services industry over the last year. And earlier this year, as the Senator mentioned, the board completed its statutorily required feasibility study, all with donated funds, and found that the program would be legally, financially, and administratively feasible. Even if participation was lower than the projected 70%, the program would still be viable, given that there's so many, 6.8 million workers in California who would be eligible. That's 6.8 million who have no retirement savings plan at work. So late last month, as the Senator said, the Secure Choice Board sent its recommendations to this committee and other members of the legislature requesting authorization to implement the program and allow it to operate so that millions of Californians could start saving responsibly for themselves with no cost to employers or taxpayers. The program would involve a partnership between the state and private sector vendors that would tap into retirement savers that aren't currently being reached by that market. So it'd be a modest step toward ensuring that California's retirement age population has the means to provide for themselves. So on behalf of Treasurer Chung, I'm urging you to let the bill move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
My name is Rita Science. I'm a member of the Executive Council of California's AARP, and on behalf of our 3.2 million AARP members in California, we'd like to express our support for SB 1234. From its inception, AARP has advocated to improve the long-term financial security of all Americans. So this is not a new type of endeavor to us. And, you know, this is our founder, Dr. Ethel Percy Andrus, who was a native Californian and a principal at Lincoln High School in East Los Angeles, really established AARP in an attempt to ensure that older Americans would have sufficient income and resources to maintain a decent living. Today, as the Senator said, the reality is more than 7 million California workers do not have access to a retirement savings program through their employer, which puts their financial future in serious peril. In some California communities, the problem is especially prevalent. Fully 60% of Hispanic workers and 53% of African Americans, as an example, lack access to employer-provided retirement plans. This predicament is due largely to a lack of access to automatic savings plans at work. We know that when offered the opportunity to save via an automatic paycheck deduction, 7 out of 10 people take advantage of it. We also know that individuals are 15 times more likely to save if they can do it through a payroll deduction, while only 5% of workers without such access will open an IRA on their own. In 2012, the California legislature took a lead by passing the original 1234, and California is once more poised to lead the nation, as it does so often. As you know, AARP was a very strong supporter of the original bill. We look forward to working closely with legislators and stakeholders to ensure that the final bill creates a program that offers Californians a flexible, portable savings option to help them build a more secure financial future.
Good morning, committee. Dr. Pan, how are you? Hi, so my name is Yvonne Walker, and I'm the proud president of SEIU Local 1000. We're the largest union of public sector workers in California. I also chair SEIU's National Retirement Security Committee, and we're very proud to be collaborating in this landmark effort that this legislation represents. Today, of the approximately 7 million people, and that's nearly 1/5 of California's population, that work without a path to retirement. This means they do not have a pension or a 401k plan. And about half of the 700,000 members that SEIU represents in California, like janitors, security workers, or IHSS workers, they live in this reality. That is why I am so proud that California is coming together, the governor, the legislature, labor, advocates for the poor, and others, through Senate Bill 1234. This bill is landmark legislation that will give millions of Californians a powerful tool to save for their retirement. In California, the 8th largest economy in the world, there is no reason why we can't pay a living wage, offer affordable health care, and provide Californians a better retirement plan than what many face today, which is working until they die. This bill also represents an exciting opportunity to address a problem that the majority of people of all political parties recognize. According to a recent poll, 67% of Republicans, 75% of independents, and 88% of Democrats say that Congress and the President should place a high priority on helping people save for retirement, and other polls specific to California have similar findings. These statistics reflect the difficult situation so many working Californians face. I'd like to just highlight Pablo Navarez. He's 52 years old and has been working in the fast food industry for 15 years, and he also works 2 to 3 jobs to make ends meet. Right now, he works in the morning in construction, and in the evening he works in a fast food restaurant. He has just finished sending his children to college and will now, at 52, start to try to put some money away for retirement. Pablo testified recently that he is worried because as he gets older, he has fewer opportunities to be hired or to get full-time work. He supports Secure Choice because he wants a chance for himself and workers like him to have a safe and secure opportunity to save for their own futures. As Pablo said, let's send a message to California and beyond that we value work, we value working people. And I would add that we value a secure future where people can retire with dignity. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses support. Actually, here, can you use the back microphone there? Anyone?
Hi, my name is Charlene Van Karen, and I am a member of SEIU USWW. And I also work at the CalSTRS building, California Teacher Retirement Building, downtown, as a security officer. It's one of my jobs. That's one of 2 jobs that I work. I've worked at the CalSTRS building for almost 10 years now. And I find it ironic that I work as a security officer at a California retirement building, and we don't have access to retirement. I work hard. I work one of 2 jobs, and I would like to set aside retirement for myself and my children so that we can one day be able to afford a sustainable lifestyle. I think this bill is wonderful in that it gives us the opportunity to do that. We have no access to retirement right now, and this bill would create that opportunity for us to be able to do that. I'm one of many, many officers who would love to have a retirement set aside for us. We have nothing to fall back on. We do rounds, we work all hours, and when our bodies do start to break down, we get concerned because we have to get up and go to work no matter what. So this bill would be great for us in order for us to have that safety net so that we can provide for our families. And it's more important so that we can have pride in what we do, and we can look at our children and our grandchildren with pride and say, this is something that we have created for you so that you can have something that you can have a foundation to build on so that you can have a better lifestyle. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Hello, Dr. Penn, and to your committee, to Dr. Leon. I honor you guys. My name is Robert Boltz, and I'm SEIU Local 2015. And I'm a healthcare provider. I take care of my son. Been taking care of him all his life. He placenta previa at birth. His mom was placenta previa, and so right now he's on a ventilator machine, and he's getting 24-hour feeds. He's been getting that all his life. I've been taking care of his all of his life. So right now it's like I don't even have a life. You know, I do get hours, but I don't get as many hours as I work. Sometimes I get 2 hours of sleep here, and 3 hours of sleep there. I get to sleep when I can get it. He is on the machine. He is in my home. And like she said, we don't have nothing to fall back on. He is my life. If I'm going to have a life, it'll be through this retirement. And you know, when I be able to get someone else to come in, and through the retirement, I will be able to go and do other things. But right now, he is my life. I don't see nothing else that I can do, you know, but him right now. You know, there is other things I can do, but I choose to put my life on hold for him. I do support this bill, and I think I speak for thousands and thousands, probably million other people, you know, so I'm in favor of this bill. If something is not broken, then there's no need to fix it. But if it's broken, let's fix it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next witness in support.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee. My name is Mark Herbert. I'm California Directed for Small Business Majority. We are a national small business education and advocacy organization. And small business owners often want to offer retirement plans for their employees, but through administrative challenges or costs often are not able to. We know that 80% of small business owners have less than 10 employees. So when we look at opportunities to provide business owners with the resources and benefits to offer their employees, we see this as that opportunity. We recently released a poll that showed 2/3 of California small business owners think this is a great idea, that they'd love to be able to take this opportunity to offer retirement benefits for their employees. So with that, we strongly support Secure Choice, and we appreciate your aye vote.
Thank you. Next witness.
Mr. Chairman and members, Barry Broad on behalf of the Teamsters, machinists, longshoremen, utility workers, a number of other unions. Just want to identify ourselves as strong supporters of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Mr. Chairman and members, Jai Suprasad with the California School Employees Association. I'm also here in support, and I want to thank the author for addressing many of the principles that we have laid out in terms of making sure that employees are protected and have the maximum flexibility as they move into this area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Jennifer Fearing on behalf of California Association of Nonprofits. We're a statewide policy alliance of more than 10,000 organizations, and we strongly support SB 1234, both as employers of nearly 1 million Californians and as providers of services to seniors in need. We strongly urge your aye vote.
Thank you. Next witness.
Michael Young, California Labor Federation. We're also here in strong support. I'd like to thank the author for working with this on our concerns and making sure we provide something that's workable for California workers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy Smith here on behalf of the State Building and Construction Trades Council.
Thank you.
Nayeli Sandoval on behalf of United Ways of California, and we urge your support of SB 1234.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Louis Brown. I'm with PolicyLink, a research and advocacy organization based in Oakland. We support low-income people and people of color. We're in support of the bill. If Americans are facing a retirement crisis, people of color are facing a near retirement catastrophe. We think this bill addresses that issue and will help to create wealth for communities of color going forward. So we strongly support the bill.
Thank you. Next witness.
Mr. Chairman, Senators, Terry Brennan on behalf of SEIU California, representing about 700,000 members. Many of them have traveled here today to watch this historic vote and have been participating in the Secure Choice Commission board hearings for the last 3.5 years. I'm proud support. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other witnesses in support? Seeing none, witnesses in opposition? Okay, welcome.
Chairman Pan and committee members, my name is Nicole Rice. I'm from the California Manufacturers and Technology Association, and we are here as opposed unless amended. We acknowledge the fact that there are millions of Californians who currently do not have the means to securely retire when they are no longer able to work. And we believe that it is the appropriate role of the state to explore suitable alternatives to address this growing issue. And as a business community, we aren't really even opposed to being a part of this solution. However, it just needs to be done in a way that will not hold employers liable, but instead hold us harmless, and we would submit even hold the state harmless, and does not expose employers to liability for which we have no control over and did not willingly assume. Unfortunately, as proposed, the Secure Choice Retirement Savings Program does not provide those assurances. For example, there's been discussion about the safe harbor that the Federal Department of Labor has raised. And having an effective safe harbor is critical to the success of this proposed program. When the guideline language came out, one of the things that the department stated in that guideline is that the judicial system would be the final arbiter as to whether or not a state program would be subject to ERISA. And as employers, when we first had these discussions on this bill, we were hoping to get an ironclad guarantee that we would not be subject to ERISA. That was an important element and component of this program. However, based on the guidelines that the Department of Labor has set forth, it does not seem that we are able to have that ironclad guarantee, which continues to have that issue, and the liability and being subject and having this program preempted by ERISA continues to still be an issue. So therefore, the guidelines are also themselves not finalized. As the senator indicated, that won't happen until later this year at best. So we would strongly encourage the legislature to wait until the Department of Labor's safe harbor guidelines are finalized before approving any legislation in implementing the Secure Choice Plan. Also, the details of this program, as identified in the current legislation, are minimal. And the language suggests that these questions would go back to the board for the board to decide what the details of the program should be. We encourage the legislature to propose as much detail as possible in this program to provide as much guidance as necessary to the board so that we can ensure that the participants and their contributions are protected and that the risk is mitigated. In order for employers to be comfortable with this plan and perhaps even consider substituting our existing plans with this plan, it needs to truly be an easy and low cost and no liability program as it was originally said to be.
You done?
Okay, next witness.
Marty Fisher here on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce and our coalition. I believe the committee has our letter, so you can see the members of our coalition. So I agree with all the comments that have been made by my colleague here. We do, of course, recognize there is a retirement issue for our citizens in California, and we need to look at options to address that. However, we have concerns with SB 1234 and some of the questions that have not been drafted completely out yet, and we think that a lot of the details need to be fleshed out a little bit better before they make it to the board, because there's so many really, really critical, important issues to the success of the program. And I'll just mention one thing that's really important is that the operational model, in order to limit the liability and the administrative burdens as well as the cost to employers, we think the operational model should have an interface between the employer and the employee. This is not specified in the bill, although it was studied in the consultant's report. Having this third party would also give better assurance to employers in their exposure and risk to ERISA issues, in that if employees interact too much with the employer about their retirement savings and their investment plan and their investment questions and what they should be doing, then it could needlessly expose the employer to being having an employer-sponsored plan, which is then subject to ERISA. And when you become subject to ERISA, you have all kinds of responsibilities and liabilities. So we really need to look at developing a model that protects the employer and then thus the employees and the state. So we think this should be fleshed out much better in the We think that most of the details should be fleshed out in the legislation and before it makes it back to the board. Thank you.